Next point about the moon. The moon has quakes. Okay, we know that earth have a quakes. They're like earthquake. Like the moon also have the quakes. These are caused by the gravitational pull of the earth. Okay, so why the moon have quakes means it's because of the earth. So because of the gravitational pulls on the earth, the moon have some quakes. The lunar astronauts used seismographs on their visits to the moon and found that the small moon quakes occurred several kilometers beneath the surface. Okay, so that is the lunar astronauts using the seismograph. Okay, using the seismograph on the moon while they are visit to the moon, they have find it out the several kilometer causes the quakes on the moon. So the what is the reason the quakes on the moon means it's because of the earth pulls its gravitational force. And the next thing is, and the scientists think the moon has a molten core just like a earth. So we know if you have studied, if you are come across with the shape of the earth, okay, you know that the core point, okay, like that the moon also having some molten core. Okay, and the second point is the first spacecraft to reach the moon was Lunar in 1959. We in our last point we have seen in 1969 they were visited the moon. Okay, but in early 1959 itself we have started. The moon was lunar. The lunar was reached the moon. This was a Soviet craft which was launched from the USSR. So this craft was launched by the Soviet. Okay, so it passed within 5,919 kilometers of the surface of the moon before going into the orbit around the sun. So it passed, it's nearly passed within 5,995 kilometers, but no one the people were step in the moon, but they were passed their craft by the Soviet, okay, in the year 1959. That is called the lunar. Okay, and the next point is the moon is the fifth largest natural satellite in the solar system. So there are a numerous n number of satellites across the universe. Okay, so equal to the planet, there are a lot of satellites also. So in the moon is a very natural satellite in the solar system. At 3,475 kilometers in a diameter, the moon is much smaller than the major moons of Jupiter and Saturn. Okay, Earth is about 80 times the volume than the moon, but both are about the same age. They are telling the size of the moon. So the size of the moon, when comparing to the moon in the Jupiter and Saturn, the moon is much smaller in the earth. The earth having moon, no? So the earth moon is smaller than what the moon which is having on the Jupiter and the Saturn. And also they are telling about the, they are comparing the moon size to the earth size. They are telling 80 times the volumes the moon than the earth. Okay, so 80 times is larger than the, sorry, smaller than the earth. Okay, so next, but they are the same age. So earth and moon have the same age, but the size will be smaller than the earth. Okay, so and the size will be smaller than the Jupiter, the moon in the Jupiter and the Saturn. Okay, and also they are telling the moon is a natural satellite in our solar system. We just overcome the points. And the first point is moon has quakes. Like our earth contains some quakes, earthquake will occur. Okay, so like that the moon also have some quakes for several kilometers. Okay, this is occurs because of the earth gravitational pull. So the gravitational pull of the earth causes some quakes on the earth. Okay, so next point is they are telling the scientists think the moon has a molten core just like the earth. So the earth also have the core point. You know about when they are, when we are come across with the studying about the earth, I will show you the diagram of the earth. I will show you very detailedly in our after a few classes. I will show you very detailedly. Okay, So like the earth also have some center point, core point. Okay, like that the moon also having the core point. And the second step is, we all know the moon in 1969, the Neil Armstrong is the very first person who walk into the moon. So in before 1959 itself, the lunar, that is so from the Soviet USSR, they were launched the spacecraft in 1959. Okay, and the next point is about the moon is a natural satellite in the solar system, and they are comparing the moon in the Jupiter and Saturn. When comparing the moon in a Jupiter and Saturn, the moon in the earth is size of the moon is very small when comparing the moon in a Jupiter and the Saturn. Okay, and they are telling it is 80 times volume lesser than the earth. That is, they are comparing the moon size and the earth size. Okay, so they are telling the moon is 80 times lesser than the size of the earth. Okay, and the very last point they are telling, but when the size may be different, but the age of the earth and the moon have the same age. Okay, the age of the earth and the moon is same age. And before going into the next point, I want to clear about the one thing. In each and every planet have its moon. It have some like a Jupiter, Saturn, they are having a 2 to 3 kinds of moon. So don't forget it. You don't think only the one moon in the solar system. There are several moon in the solar system, and each planet contain its own moon, and each planet contain 2 to 3 moons. Only the earth have the only one moon. Okay, so and before going to the next point, I want to clear about the one thing. The both side of the moon is very brighter. Not no, you don't think only the one side is darker and one side is lighter. The both side have the same amount of the sunlight. And the one more interesting point I want to remember about it, the moon is getting away from the earth per year. It's about 3.8 centimeter. So far it will be moved away from the earth for about 50 billion years. So just calculate the how much the distance got from away, the moon went away from the earth. So these are the some points I want to remember about it, because if you are preparing for examination, please take note on it. And I want to remember about the one more point also. In 1969, the Neil Armstrong is the very first person who walked into the moon. And also you want to remember about till now there are 12 people walked in the moon. The 12 people is full of American people. So 12 American people who walked into the moon. 1969 is the first, Neil Armstrong is the first person who walked into the moon. Okay, in a later 1972, the Ginny Serayon is the last person who walked into the moon. So these are the important points of the moon. So before going to the next point, I want to remember is, don't think only the one moon in a solar system. The earth contains a one moon. Okay, what we are seeing through our naked eyes. So that each planet have its own moon. Like a Jupiter, Saturn having literally a 2 to 3 moons. Okay, they were very big when comparing the moon in the earth. The moon which has in the Jupiter and Saturn were big in the size. Okay, and also I want to remember about the one more interesting point, that is, still date we are seeing only one face of the moon still now. We can see the moon with our naked eyes without support of any machine like a telescope. Without any support of the science, we can see the moon from the earth with our naked eyes. But till now we are seeing the only one side of the moon. I told you the reason, because the earth and the moon rotate in the axis on the same time. This is the reason we are still now we are seeing the one side of the moon. We not yet seen the other side of the moon till date. So these are the some interesting points I want to remember. Okay, just don't forget this. Okay, so there are a lot of points regarding about the moon. We'll see what is the next point.